Another bank is investing heavily in cryptocurrency. The CC is altering the rules, and will the cryptocurrency business eventually take off? Greetings, lovely folks, Peepo Coin channel. Today, we will discuss Bitcoin, XRP, and all the most recent and exciting news. On this lovely Wednesday, all I ask is that you offer me a lovely smile and a lot of lovely things. Smash the like button smishity. Let's attempt to get this video to receive 2,000 likes. Simple as pie. Go a little bit low. Let's get started and support the YouTube algorithm. If you notice that we are under 2,000. As of right now, XRP is up 1% for the day at $2.19. As you can see, XRP experienced a pull-out pop-up. All right, I wrote in the comments section, it isn't a breakout. Therefore, I won't refer to it as a breakout. I think we'll call it a pull-up. How many pull-ups are you able to perform? I believe I enjoy 5. I am slightly overweight compared to my optimum weight. I won't say overweight. I would like to shed 5 or 6 kilograms because I am a little bit overweight. Therefore, I could probably do 6 or 7 if I lose that. I'm experiencing back pain. That's a problem as well, although XRP saw a spike here before the rest of the cryptocurrency market had a decline. Our good friend James Wynn may have had some of his positions closed, but he still has a position open, not as large as before, of about 500,000 leverage, which is relevant to leverage trades out there. This is why we saw Bitcoin pull back from that 108,600 level and dip below the support zone. But it was only temporary because over the last 4 or 5 hours, Bitcoin saw a low of 105.96 before pushing back up. He had a post open worth $1 billion, and I'm not suggesting it's tiny. It's tiny. For him, 500,000 is a modest amount. It appears that he got duped once more. Additionally, the price of Bitcoin has surpassed 107,000 once more. Thus, it's interesting, as you can see. The stock market is at its highest point ever, is quite bullish, has recovered greatly, and all of this is to be expected. However, the stock market's greed score is just 61, while the cryptocurrency market's greed score is 64, according to the Fear and Greed Index. Thus, this is intriguing. Since a large portion of the events in the Fear and Greed Index are related to the price of Bitcoin, if you were to pull investors in the stock market and those in the cryptocurrency market, and assume that they are two distinct entities, you would likely find that the former are currently much happier than the latter. And if you are, the majority of cryptocurrency investors, not all of them, are significantly invested in other currencies rather than Bitcoin. As a result, people's cryptocurrency portfolios are lagging and far from reaching all-time highs when it occurs. Bitcoin, on the other hand, is just a couple percentage points away from setting a new record high. Thus, this is the reason for the mismatch or disconnection between the real Fear and Greed Index and the actual sentiment on the street. Since I am aware that not everyone is 60 or 70% Bitcoin, it's possible that the majority of you are either 10% Bitcoin and 90% outs, or the opposite. That's why you're experiencing agony. However, XRP hasn't truly retreated yet, as poor as the altcoin market as a whole. However, I am aware that people continue to look at stock markets and notice that this stock is rising while the cryptocurrency market is somewhat trailing behind. We recall that when cryptocurrency first emerges, it does it with a boom, don't we? I am therefore a patient. That Lambo is not necessary for me today, tomorrow, or the following day. In any case, the Lambo has nothing to do with me. I have 3 children. What will I do with them? Where will I take it for a drive? There's no logic behind it. You mean I drive it around to stand in the traffic? And what will I do with it? I ride the bus. To be honest with you, I ride the bus whenever I have to go somewhere. Just in the neighborhood. For me, it's simpler. However, that is my personality. However, that's why I'm not in a rush, you know. Once more, I will never provide you financial advice or advise you to buy it to sell it later. Always do your own research before making an investment. Each individual is unique. Each individual has a distinct objective. Everyone is aiming for something different. Furthermore, I am aware that some people may be more nervous, want it right now, or have a desire. I am aware of it, yet the stock and cryptocurrency markets have a tendency to fluctuate. There are relatively few exciting moments, and it's generally dull. The issue is that when things get exciting, the majority of people aren't in the markets. They are waiting for the thrilling. Therefore, they are not in the markets. And either they hit near the peak or the exciting part is over by the time they return to the market. They then say, "Oh, it's rigged." And these are things you've heard before. Correct. You're attempting to, as evidenced by the fact that you're watching this video during the week of July 4. To improve, you're making an effort to study, and you're keeping up with current events, and I believe that's already a plus for you. You're completing your homework, which is crucial. UniCredit, a massive bank worth $800 billion, is entering the cryptocurrency space. The bank will now provide its customers with a Bitcoin ETF. As we continue to observe, we discussed Deutsche Bank last night, and now UniCredit. More banks, more traditional financial firms are entering the cryptocurrency sector, and the so-called crypto revolution is only getting started. Correct. Additionally, the negative perception of the cryptocurrency sector will diminish as more conventional financial institutions integrate with it. Even if you walk out and you poll 10 individuals on the street, there are still people there, not in Silicon Valley either. However, if you question 10 people of diverse ages, races, and backgrounds in New York City, you can definitely count on 1 or 2 of them to say that they have some sort of cryptocurrency investment. This is still the case. If you ask how many of them have stock market investments, the answer will be 100% if they have an IRA or 401k. If not, that may vary somewhat based on socioeconomic circumstances. We're not there yet, but practically everyone has some sort of investment in the stock and cryptocurrency markets. It will therefore be crucial to observe how that develops in the future and how it impacts the cryptocurrency market and cryptocurrency token. There are lots of these. I'm not even sure how many tokens there are at the moment. For example, will there be a cutoff? It gets wild with pump funds and all that. Let's assume, however, that the top 500 tokens will endure, while the others may not. You might find yourself in such a circumstance. We'll see what transpires, though. According to reports, the SEC would automate a large portion of the clearance procedure for crypto ETF, simplifying the listing process. Under their suggested framework, issuers might be able to avoid the drawn-out 19-step application process. Holy smoking, it's not a joke that this is happening within 75 days. That might make it possible for companies like BlackRock, Fidelity, and others who might be lagging behind because they haven't filed their XRP ETF yet to be accelerated and into the game very quickly. And it may get really, really quick. Last night, people were discussing why, you say it's official. Well, consider it. There is now no justification for blocking an XRP spot ETF. XRP is already included in another ETF, such as the one we discussed last night. The ETF, there is a basket of assets. For example, what would be the cause? 10% of XRP is okay, though. However, 100% of XRP isn't good, is it? What would be the justification for it? You mean there's no reason? Therefore, it is essentially official that, even though Bloomberg reports that there is only a 95% possibility at this time, it should be closer to 100% simply because of yesterday's clearance. They might even update it. Since it puts their name on the line, they might not want to claim 99%, but it's really close. 95 is a very high likelihood. Would you have a 95% probability of surviving this life-saving procedure if someone told you that? Just 5%. You would reply, yes, of course. 95% is hence